Hey, how's it going? Welcome back to The Lockdown on pushthebutton.ie and now on thelockdown.ie. Hope you're enjoying the videos. If you are, give us a like and share maybe with your friends. They might like them as well. Today's guest is super talented. He's a writer and now a comedian, and he also had a near-death experience that not many people have lived through. Please welcome David Gilna. What's going on, buddy?
Mr. Cooper, good to see you this morning.
You too, man. This is the weirdest thing I've ever got myself involved in, interviewing people over a phone, looking down a camera, and it seems to be going all right. How are you getting on?
Yeah, I'm good actually. You know, would you believe I'm actually probably more creative. I get more productivity done right now because of no distractions. That's how I'm feeling right now. My workload has increased.
Oh, wow. So let's, for anybody who doesn't know who you are, fill them in and let's let the world know who you are.
My name is David Gilna. I'm a playwright, performer and all-round chancer.
Chancer is definitely in there. We met, I'd say, about... I'm going to say 12, 13, 14, 15 years ago, maybe?
15 years ago, yeah, 100%.
It would be 15 years ago. So I was living in Portmarnock in Dublin at the time, and you were quite local then in Swords. You're still in Swords, are you?
Moved back, yeah. Would you believe, yeah, London and America. That was, 15 years ago, Cooper.
It's crazy, and we got together for a project because I think did we first meet? I was DJing and you came up to me and was asking me about doing stuff and working with you.
I'd say we met in town. I probably were doing a set in town because, you know, I love my music, and we started chatting and straight away we just kind of vibed, and we met and we had these ideas for shows, we had these ideas for collaborating, and we just kind of got on. You know, it's a kind of a friendship was struck because we had similar interests.
Yeah, to create something, and that was it. And look at us, we're still kind of creating. Kind of. So we came up with the concept of a kind of a lighter entertainment type of TV show for the Irish market, and it was a double co-host. And actually, no, there was three hosts because Lee Arnold was one of the hosts as well.
Yeah.
And it was called The Lock-In, ironically enough.
Yeah.
And we filmed a pilot, and it was in Crystal
nightclub up in the penthouse, yeah.
Yeah, and who were the guests? So, like, I had a guest on last week, which was Key West. They were one of the guests on it.
Key West were the guests. Paul Toll.
Raisha, Paul Toll, Stephen Mannion, artist Stephen Mannion, who was amazing. So before any of this even happened, even before we met, something happened to you when you were on your J1, wasn't it? You were in Boston, was it?
Yeah, that was, to me, that was like, you know, you just have these life-changing moments. J1, young fella over in America with his friends, away from your parents, a rites of passage, whether it's America, Australia, or going to Europe. We went to Boston. We were living in South Boston at the time, Southie. We're having the time of our lives. I was working on building sites. It was just, you know, it was just an incredible experience. And then on a sunny day, July 2nd, I'll never forget, there was a ladder on a balcony, and I was just putting up partitions in it was the fourth floor of a house in South Boston, and the ladder started to move, and there was kids playing in the pool next door, and we were 4 floors up, so I was just worried that the ladder would fall over. So I went over to take the ladder, and that's when a bolt of lightning came from out of the blue. That's when lightning strikes on a sunny day and sent me back 8 feet back, and then I woke up in the ICU in the Boston Medical Center. Paralysed from the neck down, and I just was out of a coma.
That's like, I'm actually getting chills when every time you tell me this story. Like, I get chills, and the fact that you have actually lived and survived that is incredible. And you kind of took inspiration from that, and you did write about that story, didn't you?
Yeah, I tell you what happened was, so like in America, I had a team of specialists, and one of the major firms for me was sensitivity because of my nervous system, so sense of touch and feeling. So first of all, I was paralysed from the neck down, and then I was just paralysed from the left-hand side of my body, and then I started to lose touch and my balance. Your balance is in your hearing and your feet, and my feet obviously were scorched. And so a specialist said to me, "Do you write?" And I said, "No." And he said, "It's a great form of therapy." because of all the trauma that I'd been through. So I started to write, and I started to write like a madman. I used to write in walls and writing pages and journals, and I just, from that moment onwards, I never stopped writing, and it kind of just it inspired a career for me as a writer. First it was a form of therapy, and then I put all these notes together, and I wouldn't even call the first play a play. It was just coming together with friends and reading passages of this kind of journey, because I never talked about being struck by lightning. I never went like, they wanted me to go on Oprah and all these talk shows and radio shows. My parents were like, no, the main thing is health and safety, get him back home, get me recovered. And then 4 years later, I had all the medical records, I had all the files, and we put this play together because I went to study theatre studies in college. And but it was the lightning that kind of, because I didn't really sleep at all, and I just found writing. I'd wake up, get out of bed, and just start writing. I write 3 things I hear every day, and never in a million years would I think I would have like even a commission or even make revenue from it. But it's literally thanks to the lightning. So the lightning took away part of my life, but also it gave me a great gift, you know.
Did you, apart from being, you know, a brilliant writer, did you get any superpowers? Can you run really fast?
No, I, for my nephews and all my nieces, and I teach drama, you know, people are like, do you got superpowers? I'm like, yes, but I can't tell you right now. I wish I had superpowers.
One step that you made in your career was you decided that you thought you were funny, and now you're a comedian. And I remember thinking, like, Dave is now a comedian. The funniest thing I know about Dave is, like, he looks like a male version of Ellen.
That is going in my bio. I love it. I absolutely love it. Let's dance.
So, when did you decide that you wanted to do stand-up comedy?
Okay, this is a true story. Okay. You're gonna actually kick yourself. So a buddy of mine's girlfriend was from LA, and her friend flew over to see her, and she was a journalist for Playboy, and she was a stand-up comedian. Okay. And we went out for a few drinks in Dublin.
Did you say a journalist for Playboy?
Playboy magazine, yeah. She was recently on the Joe Rogan podcast there, Bridget. I'll send you on her handle.
Is there words and articles in Playboy?
Yeah, of course there is. McCooper. And she was doing gigs in Dublin, and I was just like, wow. I said, I've always wanted to do stand-up, but I never had the courage. And she was like, just go for it. There's a gig in Whelan's called Pop Your Cherry. And I was just like, okay. So after a few drinks, woke up the next day, Googled Pop Your Cherry comedy in Dublin. Okay. Whelan's came up. I put my name down on it, not thinking anything of it. 6 months later, I got a phone call, came on, went on stage, family and friends were there, and it was unbelievable. It was so liberating, because as an actor, you're playing the character. As a writer, you're hiding behind the words. Yeah. But as a comedian, it was just me. There was no character. It's whether you hate me or you like me or you think I'm funny. And when you get that first laugh, that hit, it was liberating. It was just an incredible rush, because maybe I was getting a little bit disillusioned by, let's say, the industry for a while. I was bored. Yeah. And when you write, you don't forget, like you're quite, for all the shows you've done, all the programs you created for radio in the morning, they have to be naturally funny. So you put in your creative writing with your acting background, and then you come together as a comedian, and you get to use all of those creative forms in one. So absolutely, I love it. It's just a great way to, another form of, for me, for entertainment, you know.
And you like the comedy and the comedy shows, you started to do different shows and tour around, were quite successful, and then you had an American tour booked, which you're now meant to be on. Yeah.
That was, I should be gigging right now in Phoenix, Arizona today.
That's too hot there, man, anyway.
Yeah, so literally from background as a playwright, I kind of formed this piece. I would call it a live theatrical experience. It's called A Bolt from the Blue. It was when lightning strikes on a sunny day, and I wanted to tell that story because it was the right time for me to tell that story through humour, through growing up in the village where I come from, to going off to live in London, America, and then having this moment that kind of changed my life. And I literally was at 26 venues booked across America and Canada. The show just, people really were invested into the show. And then obviously COVID-19 started to, the pandemic across the world. And I just started to realise then, started to communicate with some of the venues that I kind of made the decision that it was the right thing to hold back on. And then literally 2 days later, Trump made the announcement about the ban, the travel ban. And look, things happen for a reason. I've been postponed to come back at the end of the year, the weather depending on how it goes. But yeah, literally from being drunk in a club in Dublin to Googling Pop Your Cherry in Dublin to then having a 26 venue tour, and that just goes to show you that for anybody listening, just take that chance, because you never know where it will lead. And then from the back of that, venues started to put on my plays, my past work. So it was an introduction to me to America, to Irish art centres and venues, and to kind of build a relationship between that Irish and American connection.
While you're at home, have you learned anything new? Like, so apart from what you're doing anyway, like have you maybe gone online and looked at any tutorials of, how to repair the toilet or fix the leak in the sink, or anything like, just like something that you've never done before? So like, we're now 6 weeks into this. Have you learned anything?
Well, you believe I tried to cook, as in bake, should I say, which was a disaster.
Okay.
But I make an incredible apple tart, I have to say. That is like, I will actually bake you an apple tart, Cooper, and you're gonna love it.
Good.
So yeah, I'm cooking a lot more. I used to cook 1 or 2 dishes, but I'm getting quite adventurous now. But baking, I thought I'm a bit of a rogue cook, so I was just like throwing ingredients left, right and centre to the
You can't do that with baking. It's a precise science.
I just thought,
so I've been told by my 11-year-old.
Yeah, me and you both. I just like, let's just throw a bit of this in and throw a bit of that in. Hey, it's creative. It's, feel it.
Yeah.
No, they were the worst cookies I've ever had in my life. They look like death.
Well, keep trying. Don't, like, you at the moment you've got loads of time to try these things out. So I want you to go back and start trying baking again. So okay, I want you to make those cookies and make them perfect.
But the other thing is carpentry. So I've learned is I can't paint. I tried to paint the kitchen one time, the bathroom. Can't paint to save my life. I'm brutal, but I was really good at carpentry. I did set design also in college, so I kind of was lazy about fixing hinges and screws, and then I got the old power drill out, and then I started to get the old bandsaw out and maybe make a few frames and stuff like that. So I'm kind of falling in love with carpentry again. The basics now, just to fix things. Like, when it comes to painting, can't paint, can't bake. That's what I've learned in my experience with COVID-19.
Well, where we live, we have a paint. Well, I don't. My father-in-law has a paint shop at the back of the house.
Oh, cool.
And my brother-in-law is an amazing painter. So, during all of this, the entire outside of our house has been painted because he can't go and paint anywhere, and we have the paint there to do it. So, but I'm going to give you a tip that I've learned from painting. That is, always do your edging and cutting in first, so around your windows and doors and edges. Do that with a brush, and then just go for it with the roller.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the best tip I can ever give you.
I am so bad at painting. Seriously, it looks like someone looks like a crime scene after I finish.
David, it's been lovely to catch up with you. I wish you the very best of luck in the future, and when this is all over, we will definitely meet up and have those cookies and a slice of your apple pie.
Cooper, look, you're always incredible to be around. You're positive, you're creative, and you know what? You're going to be in this game for the rest of your life. Like your own brother here. Much love, and thanks for having us on the show, my friend.
Cheers, buddy. Thanks so much to David for coming on the lockdown. Maybe you got some inspiration from that. Maybe you're going to start creating or baking apple pie or painting better now that you know all the tricks. Like, share, subscribe. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.